Welcome back to Market It with Atma, where we share the tips, tools, and strategies to help your business be successful. Today, we're going to talk about scaling with intention. We have owner of Signal of Irving, Arlington, here with us today, Mr. Andre Jackson. Welcome, Andre.
Hey, good morning. How are y'all doing?
I'm doing great. So, can you tell us more about what exactly Signal is and how you got into this business first?
Yeah, so Signal is a franchise-based security provider.
Okay.
We are national, international, and I am the local operator owner of the Irving, Arlington, Frisco, McKinney market.
That's awesome.
How I got started is I was initially an employee of the actual home office or corporate office.
Yeah. That's amazing. So your history was kind of within the same realm. You wanted to go into security, so you kind of got hired on there?
Yeah, and funny enough, the individual that hired me was in the Army as well.
Oh, okay.
So he basically, I think he's seen my resume, my DD-214, and a few other things, and he kind of took a chance because initially where I started was in recruiting, and I really didn't have any experience or background in that area.
Right, just trying something new, right?
Yeah, just the security. So I kind of I kind of knew what guards do, what are some strengths that they need, and vice versa.
That's awesome. So you kind of learned the structure from the military, and it was a structured environment you're in.
Absolutely. I think in the military too, you get voluntold for security details
Voluntold?
and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty common.
I think every veteran that's listening can honestly relate to that because
100%.
Any branch, you understand that struggle. So you went from being an employee to an owner of the franchise in a fairly short amount of time. So how long had you been an employee for the company before you took on that ownership role?
So I would say around 2.5 years.
Wow.
And I think, there was an opportunity that opened up and I had voiced it. And I had several transitions with the home office. When I started there, my initial goal was to work in every different department. I kind of knew what I wanted to do anyways.
Right.
But just, so I worked in recruiting, sales. I even did some admin stuff there.
Wow. Knowledge is power, right?
For sure. Well, too, I didn't have the experience, so it was important for me to kind of get involved and kind of dive into those things.
Absolutely. And you mentioned earlier before we started recording that the founder of this company is very intentional. And would you say he's kind of a mentor for you?
100%. I think he was another person when I first started there. He was very beneficial in helping me get involved in the things that I was unaware of. I think he's very much of the mindset, he's going to give you an opportunity to do it.
Mm-hmm. And it's what you do with it, right?
Yes, correct.
That's a wonderful way to be. And you kind of took off.
Yeah.
It seems like you have. So you went from just you in the franchise to how many employees do you have now?
We got 16 now.
That's wonderful. And so what service area do you cover? And can you tell us more about what your services are and how you've grown in your staff and your services?
Yeah, so as far as our two service areas, we do two services. We do an hourly guard dedicated service, and then we do a mobile patrol.
Okay.
And with those two services, I would say we partner with we partner with industries that are multifamily, retail, warehousing, distribution, in anything that I think a main thing is we want to kind of focus on just delivering peace of mind to the community.
That's wonderful. It's serving with intention.
Correct.
I would say. And we had a call long before this, and you'd mentioned that you've grown exponentially and quickly for a brand new franchise owner. What would you say was the biggest attribute to helping you in that growth and scaling your business?
I think just kind of sticking to a routine and just
having that framework.
Yeah, and having that framework, and then just really just focusing on the work when you are out there. I think that a lot of the clients that I have, I think they they enjoy the intentions you have with actually trying to help them accomplish their goal and make them successful.
Right.
And they in turn then will refer you. And I think that's kind of where I've seen a lot of my growth is because like I have a pretty good relationship with, well, I don't have a pretty good, I'd like to say I have a great relationship with a lot of my clients.
Well, I think in any business, any industry, if you don't have that relationship, especially with all the AI coming out and a lot of the automation, you want that personal touch, especially from the owner, knowing that, because security is so important for commercial, for anything. You need to know that you're trusting those people when you're not looking, right?
Absolutely. I think too, like when we look at the service, like, we have to also be always mindful of like what the client wants to receive.
Absolutely.
Because how they view our service is how we keep business, right? Like I think that is super important to make sure that we're doing the things, whether it's our report writing, or whether it's like our appearance and professionalism that, in our interactions. Like I think that is like, something that.
So walk us through that. Walk us through how you onboard new clients and what separates you from the rest. What separates how you're intentional from anyone else they could have called, because for you to retain your staff the way you have and you to retain your clients the way you have, there's something that you're doing right?
Yeah, I think for me, like I usually start off like so I have a day 0 to day like 90.
Okay.
But right off the bat, we start off with like a welcome letter, and then we kind of outline what that looks like so that way they can visualize what they're buying and what their touch points will look like.
Right, so they have clarity?
So they do have,
Okay.
We try to give them with as much clarity, and we try to give them with a lot of contact points for things that maybe that they run across that they need changes or tweaks to.
Okay.
But we have a day 0, day 1, day 30, day 90. But nonetheless, like I also do like weekly and bi-weekly visits where it's like we're just stopping in, and a lot of the times it's not service related. It's just to see how things are going on their side of it.
To get their feedback.
Yep. And I think like it's important that you stop in and you just say hi and just ask how their role's going, like what is their kind of like growth been within their business and their, and just in what they're chasing, because, that in turn they'll give you then the insight on like what we can do to basically contribute.
Absolutely. So do you kind of project that on your staff? Do they typically follow that same guideline with you, and do you encourage it?
100%. I try to empower, because I mean, at the end of the day, I can't be at every place at every time, but people take more accountability and ownership when it feels like it's coming from them. So it's, we try to teach it in the way like, hey, like we're all running little businesses, right?
Absolutely. Make them a part of it, because at the end of the day, your staff is your business, right?
100%. And it's not easy work.
It's not easy work. So you said it's security. A lot of it's security. What other services do you offer?
So like, I guess like as far as from a security standpoint, like I think the better way I can answer that is I think we try to provide more of a customer service approach. So I think whether it's securing a facility or just enhancing like a residence, kind of a quality of life on property, as well as like doing things like helping contribute to like the maintenance, the upkeep, because that's another part of what we do too, is we want to, relay a lot of like things that we see that could be concerns or could be not blemishes, but things that they can maybe clean up so that way their businesses are.
Absolutely. So you take the opportunity to not just do your job when you're there, to point out the things that could benefit them that
For sure.
you blatantly see. Whether you can handle those things or not, you bring it to light.
Absolutely. I think we always try to find ways to add value.
See, and that's, I think, what a lot of business owners kind of, that's their intention at first, right? But then they kind of get lost in it. So the fact that you have that hands-on touch and you teach your staff to have those touch points is very important, I would say, in a sales industry, but anyone that's running a service-based industry, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely.
So you recently hit a goal. You exceeded your revenue goal for a month, correct? Mm-hmm. So what would you say was the changing point? How did you reach that goal? What would you say you did exponentially better than any other month that helped you?
I identified and investing into a team. I think like for the large part of it, like I did a lot of stuff. Like I've always had like a team, whether it was a team of 2, 4, 6, but I think I've identified like some key leaders.
Would you consider yourself a leader?
Absolutely. I think so. I mean, just because like I think for me, I always, I like to try to be an example.
Yeah. So to behave the way you want them to behave and to lead the way you want them to lead.
For sure. I think you get much further with people, by doing that.
Yeah. I mean, just having that appreciation for other people. So growing from 2 to 17, it's not a small feat. What were the biggest lessons during that growth?
There's I'm very critical. I'm very self-aware, and I'm very critical of myself like that. I just have a lot of room for growth. How I can, I think, make the experience a lot better for them.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, I think I need to focus more on also, like, helping them, like, find, like, growth in their own personal lives and not just professionally.
So you're saying there has to be a balance there?
Oh, 100%. Because I think that, like, I ask for a lot. So, I think that, like, I think it's only right on my end to be able to provide that.
Absolutely. To know who you're working with every day, which in turn creates that quality culture in your business, right? Mm-hmm. That's how true leaders scale, in my opinion. So you also are kind of, we go off of the build, launch, grow, scale methodology, right? So what point in that methodology would you say you're in? Build, launch, grow, or scale? And why?
It's so interesting because I feel like I go between all three.
Right. Well, you're ever learning.
Yes,
right?
Yeah. But I think right now, currently, it's scale because I think, like, and I think that's a further stage. But I think that, like, there's a lot of things that I need to implement now to proactively get ahead of the things that I'll deal with in 90, 120 a year.
So you kind of always have that long-term goal in mind when you're making your changes. So to that point, what systems are you currently building or improving on to support the next level of business growth?
I think one of the things I'm focusing on is a much cleaner, kind of like a performance evaluation process. Okay. I'm revisiting a lot of my onboarding process for employees and clients. Mm-hmm. I also think that, like, I am kind of putting together a more efficient kind of sales and marketing approach.
Okay. Are you automating any of your processes so
Correct.
far?
Yes, I am. And that's, I think, where I'm having the hardest part, though, because, like, for me, like, creating processes, which I think for the majority of people, right?
Everyone can relate to that, for sure.
Creating processes, but it's enforcing them.
Absolutely. Or refining them, seeing those pain points and optimizing them. So you, how do you manage kind of the client journey from contract to 30 days and beyond? I know we kind of talked about that, but you're very hands-on. So how do you have that relationship with the client and re-engage them while also leading your team and staff?
I think by just using technology. I think, like, CRMs and stuff like that are super helpful because, like, like, you have so many different conversations in a day. Like, I think, like, by logging a lot of this stuff and just, referring back to those notes, but I think sticking to a routine and putting them on a schedule, because, like, I think, it's every day something new comes up, and so, like, having, like, a fluid schedule, like, has kind of helped me maintain a lot of that.
So like a re-engagement schedule, whether you can be on site or not, you always kind of have that CRM where it's helping you re-engage your clients. And stuff.
Yeah. And it like, we use task management to do that. So, like, it lets me know if, like, I need to do a visit here in a few days, or did I do the visit? What was the feedback?
Yeah.
And, so just even adding, like, if it's 3 or 4 words, I think is better than nothing, right?
Absolutely. So what's one belief or value you instill in every team member from day one? For our business owners out there that are having trouble really building and sustaining a team, can you give us a few points on how you keep yours feeling valued and appreciated? And
I feel like I try to start with serving, and then I think the one that I think probably one of the most difficult is integrity. I think serving and integrity, because I think naturally, like, it's normal for people to want to cut corners, but I think when you're trying to, like, when you're actually intentionally trying to help someone, I think that, like, it removes a lot of the selfish kind of approaches. And it's, it can be selfish to want to help people, but I think that like, that's a little bit more genuine, and then, like, I think that immediately goes right into integrity. I think when you're leading with that, like, you're typically going to do the right thing when you're trying to help someone.
Absolutely. Lead by example, right?
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Well, those are great points, because you wouldn't believe how many business owners that I work with on a daily, they know their process and they are very hands-on and they're great at what they do. But relaying that to a team is very different.
Oh, 100%. Because they have, a million different ways kind of how they think things work. And then, too, like they have past experiences that they're bringing to the table that are valuable and that I think that they try to use to reference. So, no, I mean, it's definitely communication is, I think, probably one of the largest challenges of any business, like, downstream.
Absolutely. Would you say when you onboard new staff or new partners in general, would you say personality profiling is something you feel is very important to see if their personalities are going to
I think,
benefit?
I think especially now because like now that I have leaders, like it's like you have to fill in either the gaps or you have to hire towards like people's strengths and weaknesses.
Absolutely.
And so I do try to use like personalities. Like I have some cards that are very blunt, and then I have some that are very kind of like just kind of laid back. And it's like making sure I'm matching them up with people who can manage them so they can be successful.
Absolutely.
I think is also probably one of the kind of the things that we currently have challenges around, but we are like actively kind of.
Yeah, no, personality profiling with the client, the customer, your staff, your leadership. I think it all kind of comes full circle, right, as to who you are. So for business owners, can you give us a little tip as a business owner? What are some of the biggest barriers you see for aspiring business owners in industries like yours? When getting into this business, I know you got into the franchise and you had a different perspective because you were in it, right? So you have a different appreciation for it. But what would you say was the biggest hurdle being an owner?
So being initially, I would say it'd be entry, right? Like, but I think now I think it's
I guess let me frame it differently. What do you wish someone had told you now that you've been in it?
Oh yeah, I think it's just to take chances and to not try to do things perfect. Like I mean, this isn't. I hate to say this is probably a little bit more broader advice, but it's to just to use don't be afraid to start a rough draft. I think everyone wants to have a final product.
Absolutely.
But I think just start with one client and really focus on them, and then master that, and then try to duplicate that. And I think that we tend to get into business and want to immediately grow or immediately have hundreds of clients, and you forget the one person that gave you the chance. But I think that just starting out there and then building off of that is probably the more I think the most realistic and then feasible route.
And I would have to agree with you 100%. And that nurturing from the beginning, not forgetting where you came from, I guess. Mm-hmm. So do you see any potential in one of your staff members or maybe multiple staff members being owners like you were, going from an employee to an owner? And are you trying to develop that growth, or are you strictly focused on the business? And
no, I actually am, and I'm fortunate. I have 2 employees that have been with me now for I want to say 16 months. And I'm like I don't think the one that I'm referring to, I don't think they've ever came out and said that they want it, but I know that they're ambitious. They just you
see it in them.
Yeah, and I mean they're amazing. I think. Well, her name is Jenna, but she's I can lean on her a lot. And also whether she stays with me or goes somewhere else, like I'm very committed to making sure that whatever she does after this should be a step up.
That's admiring. Who would you say your mentors are? I would think that Gina, you would be one of hers. Who is your mentor that leads you to the next step?
I lean on a lot of people, a lot of older relatives, but and then I also have a mentor from the military that I still reach out to.
Okay.
He kind of helped me when I was a 19-year-old kid that had no clue. And
we've all been there.
And then I'm also grateful because like one thing good about having a franchise is you got the network. So when I worked at the corporate office, I worked and did sales for a lot of the owners, and so like I was able to develop like an actual working relationship with them. And
wow.
And I can still call them to this day and have them look at my numbers, have them look at my books, and just get like honest feedback.
Would you say that's pivotal and important in any business?
Oh, 100%. I think you should always seek feedback, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent.
Absolutely.
I think that's just the only way to have like a broader scope of where the business is at. And if you're not getting feedback, then that's probably not a good thing.
Absolutely not. So, what is on the horizon for Signal in the next few years? You're doing great right now. What are your plans for the future?
I think in this next year is to get a lot more involved into local community events. Like I know we talked about before we hopped on this, the Chamber of Commerce, being more involved with our local EMS, fire department, police department, and then even just in like maybe community outreach. Programs and stuff like that. Like for me, like that's kind of where I want to spend this next year at, because I really want us to align with what we do and in community enrichment.
Absolutely. So you mentioned police department and fire department. Aren't they the ones protecting us? How do you benefit or help those areas of our cities?
I think by just continue to cultivate and develop a relationship with them, because they are, we do have like an alarm response service where, our goal is to basically field calls that maybe aren't like safety related.
Right. They're not a danger.
Correct.
As much as a police call would be.
It's more like just a touch point and just maybe to address some things for the caller, or even just responding to like facilities to make sure they're not burned down or whatever the case is. But I think just kind of better understanding how we can also adjust what we do to either one, reduce maybe some of their calls, or
right.
At least when we do call them, we have all the information they need to do what they need to do.
That's amazing. I think it's great that you're being intentional about being a part of your community, because at the end of the day, you're growing off of referrals because of your intentional outreach, and to partner with other trusted security and safety environment is just going to grow you in every way, right?
Absolutely.
Whatever they can't handle. I know I have family in the police department, and I know a lot of their income comes from those jobs like that you offer for the security. Mm-hmm. So are you helping to kind of give them those extra times and hours, or is that something that you do in your business?
So that's something I'm also looking to get into this year, because I get a lot of opportunities for like subcontracting off-duty officers or things like that. And I'm not born and raised from Dallas, so I haven't been able to find the right like point of contact and stuff like that. And also, there's a lot of things that I just currently unaware of that I am trying to learn.
Right.
So that way I can, fill that gap, because it is a huge opportunity for that in the industry. And then not only that, but like, I think it always helps when you're getting them paid more.
Absolutely. So I would definitely consider you in the scale phase. You've built with the processes and the correct sequences for your clients and for your staff. The grow phase is so important, and I think you're optimizing it well, right? Mm-hmm. So launch and expanding your network, I think, is the best type of business you can have come into you, because I know if someone would refer you to me, I'm going to trust you because I trust them, right?
Hey, I'd love to hear that. That's the goal.
So would you say networking groups are something that you're trying to focus on in your future?
Yeah, I think especially this year, because I've done a lot of door-to-door sales this past few years, and I think that I know for me too, I'm very good at just kind of wanting to get to know other people's stories.
Yes.
And I think that's something I'm looking forward to, because there's just a lot to learn in that,
you say door to door. Do you mean
business
more B2B?
Yeah, we just refer to door to, but yeah.
Well, yeah, when you're in it. But for our listeners, how do you approach a B2B? Just cold outreach.
Well, I think that's also the benefit of a franchise. Like, they actually have a sales process. Like, he has like a sales curriculum he teaches. But nonetheless, like, I think like it initially starts with like a lot of what he would call pre-call planning, but a lot of research, right?
Absolutely.
You want to know what they do, maybe why they would need security, and maybe how security could, either help them with cost savings or help drive their business. But I think you typically start with that, and then, obviously you want to find, who makes that decision, which isn't always easiest. But, I think that's, if you don't know, the best way is to go in and ask.
Right. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right?
Yes.
That's great. And listening to someone's story and just listening with intention, it changes a lot of perspective. I know as a client and to my clients, being able to hear and not just dictate is something that's becoming more rare, I would say, in the world today.
Yeah, I think so. And I think what I've learned in this past year is I need to actually emphasize listening more. And because I think that because you have so many different things, like you can quickly disconnect from a conversation, and that's it's just not ideal. No one wants to talk and not feel heard.
Absolutely. It's hard when you're hyper focused on what you need to do to actually hear with intention.
No, 100%.
Well, we're all growing, right? Mm-hmm. So can you tell us if anyone's interested in hiring you for their commercial business or any business, or interested in learning more about your team and your growth, what platforms are you on right now they can reach out to you on, or how can they connect with you?
So we do have a Google business page. We have a LinkedIn page. We do have a Facebook page that I need to be a little bit better about monitoring, but
I know someone that can help you with that. Shameless plug there.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right.
So we do Facebook,
and then we are kind of we now just opened an Instagram page. So those are the basic avenues where you can get a hold of us.
Okay, and what's the website name?
So it's going to be teamsignal.com /Irving-Arlington.
Okay, great. I'll put that in the chat as well, the transcript as well, so everybody can go and listen to it or go and visit you. So to sum up in one sentence, last question, what would you say your mission is in one sentence? And if you could sum it all up, what would it be?
Yeah, I would say our mission is to cultivate a team that leads by professionalism and that has the goal and mindset to impact, deliver peace of mind, and uplift the community.
Absolutely.
I think that's our main thing. What we want to do is we truly want to enhance people's experience, whether they're shopping, whether they're in the comforts of their home, or whether they have a business they want to leave and go back home to unattended, right, and disconnect. Right. I think we want to fill that gap so that way people can return to work or go shopping, and not be maybe stressed about the things that they can't control.
That's wonderful. It's a great mission to have, and I can't wait to see what comes on the horizon for you and your team. Thank you, Andre.
I appreciate the conversation for sure.
Absolutely. Well, to all of our listeners out there, I hope you gained a lot of perspective from Andre's insights. And if you want to connect with him, please feel free to go to the website or message me directly. I can connect you with him. Until next time, we'll see you then.